After 12 years and 11 seasons, The Walking Dead has wrapped up. It is done. So I definitely have some thoughts on the finale. So spoilers are ahead for the series finale, the overall show, etc., etc. So The Walking Dead's final episode, Rest in Peace, I thought it was a good episode. I thought it was a solid season finale, and overall, I thought it was a satisfying enough series finale. Now, there was a lot of action to start the episode, a little bit of a lull in the middle where they all kind of banded together to let the people into the Commonwealth. They got rid of the walkers, and then it was like, okay, peace time, and then the time jump, and then boom, at the end we saw freaking Rick Grimes and Michonne. How about that? What a way to send off this show, right? We finally got to see Andrew Lincoln back as Rick Grimes. I did not think the Mad Lads had it in them, but they did. They showed us Rick at the end of the show, and I am, for one, so happy that they did. And of course, it was awesome seeing Michonne, but my goodness, I know we've all missed Rick. I personally don't have too many gripes with the finale. Yeah, I can nitpick a few different things, such as like them blowing up all the walkers in the Commonwealth. Yeah, that was a little bit of a cop-out. I was kind of hoping for more of a, No Way Out 2.0, something like that. And we didn't get that. I get why they blew up everything. It was feasible enough. And they had the voiceover of like Mercer saying, oh, the variants are too smart. We can't lead them away and fight them. We're just going to blow them up. Whatever. It makes enough sense. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be mad about that. Good enough, right? For a series finale, I'm so glad The Walking Dead had a solid one. Again, you can nitpick a few different things, but it was satisfying enough. Coming from, say, Game of Thrones or Supernatural, where those two finales were just gut-wrenchingly bad. It was nice to have a finale that ended well enough. I'm satisfied with it. I'm happy with it. I like that everyone was safe, found their peace, and still at the same time, they left it open-ended enough for all the spinoffs that they plan on doing. Again, you can nitpick a few different things, and I get it, but I don't even feel like doing that right now. I'm happy that The Walking Dead had a satisfying finale. It was good enough. It makes it stomachable that you can watch the show all over again. You can binge season 1 through 11, and it's a great show turned good show with a good enough ending. And we got to see Rick in the end, where the show started with them, we ended with them, and that's how it should be. I'm so glad that happened. Now we get to speculate for the next year or so about when was that in the timeline? Where is Rick at now? How did Rick get there? So on and so forth. Like, that's gonna be a lot of fun to speculate. Where's Michonne at? Where is she writing to? How long the timeline is she? We're going to be talking about all that, which is awesome. It's fun to speculate that stuff, but I'm glad that they showed them in The Walking Dead. Not the Rick and Michonne, not whatever spinoff. I'm glad we got to see them in the end of The Walking Dead. It just felt more special. It needed to happen. It just did. And it was great to see him. So in this episode, we didn't really lose too many people. Jules, who to be completely honest, did not even know she even existed. Before a few episodes ago, I totally forgot she even was in the show. Luke died too, but he disappeared off to Harry Potter land for better half of a season or so whatever. Yeah, honestly, I don't really care. And then the big death at the end was Rosita. She, in a way, got a very similar death to Andrea in the comics, but even then, I wouldn't really call that the Andrea death. I think, to me personally, the comic Andrea death was more similar to Carl's. Again, they're all kind of different in their own way, but she gets bit like on the shoulder blade, back neck area, and they obviously can't amputate when she was saving her baby and so forth. It was fine. When she exploded out of the walkers, I won't lie to you, that was a little cheesy. That's another part I would kind of nitpick, but I can overlook it. It is what it is, right, at this point. Like, personally, for me, I would have had her fall and get devoured with her baby, straight up. That's just The Walking Dead that I love, and that's just what I would have had happen. Because think about if Rosita would have fell out that building very early on in The Walking Dead. She would have got devoured, and her kid. Because that's just what The Walking Dead was. In the later seasons, they kind of got soft. Let's be realistic here. I'm glad in the final season, they, especially part C or part 3, whatever you want to call it, they did bring back the gore a lot more than, say, like season 10, I feel like wasn't very gory. Season 8 definitely wasn't. Season 9 to some extent. But I'm really glad that they brought back the gore, and it felt like The Walking Dead again, on the gore aspect. Felt more in line with the early parts of the show. Everyone kind of knew Rosita was going to die. I think she was high on everyone's death predictions, so it really wasn't that big of a shock. To me, it would have been a bigger shock if she would have fell and then she just got straight up devoured with her kid. That would have been a way to send her out. That's personally how I would have done it, but is what it is. You could have kind of correlated that to Laurie's death in the comic book. Again, a little bit different, but you could have drawn some parallels to that. It would have been brutal. Let's be honest, Walking Dead is not as brutal as it once was, so they're not going to do it. And I know the show has its brutal moments still to some extent, but to me, in my opinion, it's nowhere near what it was in the first few seasons. So to circle back again, I have no major complaints of this finale. I'm so glad I'm satisfied with it. I hope it was satisfying for you as well. Again, you can nitpick a few things. I get it, but overall, I think they wrapped it up well enough. It was a good season finale and overall a satisfying enough for a series finale. And them doing the small time jump with all the characters, that was real cool. Very in line with the comic books, but not as drastic. And then of course, seeing Rick and Michonne at the end was just a chef's kiss, icing on the cake. Again, it just needed to happen, and that also set up their spinoff show real well. Like, it didn't give anything away other than, hey, Rick's alive. He's out there somewhere, and he healed from the rebar injury. So we know that much. Like, that's pretty much it, right? And he also put the boots and the cell phone and a few other things on that backpack and threw it on the boat, because that's the boat that Virgil has that Michonne ends up finding in season 10. So that's kind of a full circle moment how that happens. And, you know, how does that boat get there? Who really knows? You know, all these things we get to kind of theorize now, right? I'm sorry, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty details of this episode. It went similar enough to how I thought it was kind of going to go in my head, so I'm happy with that. No real big deaths. I mean, I know Rosita died and Luke and Jules, but let's be honest, like Luke and Jules, whatever. And Rosita was a big enough death, but even in my head, like Rosita was never more than a B character, so it's not like Carol died at the end or Daryl or Negan or Maggie or someone along those lines. Like, obviously Rosita's a big character, but she's not in that upper echelon. She just never was and never will be, in my opinion at least. But hey, how about Father Gabriel and Jerry making it all the way to the end of the show? How wild is that? I mean, everyone always thinking Father G was going to die in some way, or Jerry. How about them making it to the end? I mean, how freaking cool. I'm so glad they made it to the end. Aaron too. I'm glad Aaron made it. I was worried for him for a second there. I'm glad he made it to the end. Lydia made it. Elijah made it. But I think the biggest for like, oh, relief that they made it was Jerry and Father Gabriel. I'm just baffled. I honestly am, especially with Father Gabriel. Like, Jerry, we all just like Jerry, like, of course, but we always could kind of see how he could die. But Father Gabriel, there were seasons where I did not like that character. So I'm so glad that he turned it around, of course, and he ended up surviving throughout the whole show. Just how cool is that, right? But I don't want to talk your ear off too long. I found the finale to be satisfying enough. I thought it was a good enough series finale. It satisfied me enough. It gave us enough closure, along with leaving things open-ended enough to have us want to check out the spin-off shows, which some people will be mad about that, but I'm not that mad because I'm a Walking Dead fan. I'm going to watch the spin-offs. Like, I am going to check them out. But I do like the idea of you can watch just The Walking Dead and not watch the spin-offs and be satisfied with this, right? I think that was good on their part. So I'm going to give the finale a solid 8.5 out of 10. I'm sad the show's gone, but at the same time, I'm kind of happy. I'm glad that it's tied up in a bow. It's done. We can just enjoy it for what it was now. It was a great show, turned into a good show, and it's finally wrapped up, and what an era, right? So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Were you satisfied with the finale? Let me know it down in the comments below, and while you're down there, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. Until next time, guys, everyone have a great day. Thanks for watching.